Yes, good evening, afternoon. I don't know. Yeah, good day to you all. What a time to be alive. Tottenham Hotspur closing in on our first transfer of this window. It's all very exciting. And both Rain and Chris have both messaged me with joy today at the thoughts of yet another teenager joining the ranks at Tottenham Hotspur. I'll get all of their thoughts on everything. You've got Spurs losing to Bournemouth, more and more injuries, more setbacks to the likes of Kulusevski. We've got players fighting with fans. We've got the captain calling out the club. We've got the manager saying it's a difficult window. The fans want the manager gone. Some fans think nothing's going to change. Have I missed anything? No, I think that's probably it, but it's covered a lot. Rain, good afternoon, good evening, sir. How are you? Without mentioning Spurs, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've had a pretty good day. It's not quite as cold as it has been. The office has been shut because there's been a flood, post Christmas flood. So been working from home. You know, it's all rosy.
Good. That's what we all need. And Chris, any post-Christmas floods in your world?
Not in my personal world, perhaps in my professional world, but that's another story for another day. And just ecstatic at the thought of being a Spurs fan with so much of a roller coaster ahead of us.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting, guys. We'll get into it all. I find it funny, guys, because the more and more I look at people's comments online, the more I look at content, the more I think there's a lot of fans who don't quite seem to understand the actual, I don't know, is the quagmire, is that the right word? Or the, we're in it. Yeah, that is the right word, isn't it? We are, let me use a different word. We are just in an absolute state of shit right now. I don't think there's any way to be polite about it. Rain, let me start with you. I don't really want to focus too much on Bournemouth as a game because the whole club is an absolute mess, from players to manager to owners, recruitment team, transfer window. Is this the most difficult period you can remember being a Spurs fan? Bearing in mind we're all over the age of 42. Is this the most difficult era you can remember? And are we in mid-90s territory here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Good afternoon, mate. Absolutely. I can't remember us being in this type of a state before. I can't really remember what happened with Sugar and Venables in the 90s. I was a teenager. I was more interested in playing football than following football at that point in time. I don't remember specifically what happened. What's clear to me is that we've transitioned from being a club run by one person for the last 20 odd years and micromanaged to the nth degree, to a club that doesn't appear to be being run by anybody at this moment in time. And funnily enough, I was on with Dermot yesterday, and he always asks me a question, Savva. He always says, "So, is Frank getting sacked?" He asks it every single time. I said to him, I don't think there's anybody there to sack him. Yeah. And there certainly isn't anybody there to do the work to go and find another manager. At the moment, it's quite clear to me that Frank and Vinay are both completely isolated. They've got no support structures. They're completely on their own. And it's leaving our club in a really, really dire strait.
I mean, Chris, I think that's really interesting. Big up to Dermot, by the way, wherever he is. Big up to you, Dermot. Chris, I think it's so interesting that Rain says that, right? Because all I hear is sack Frank. And listen, I do think he's going to get the sack soon. But all I hear is sack Frank. Chris, who are you trusting upstairs? And I don't mean in your house. Who are you trusting upstairs at Tottenham Hotspur maybe there is someone upstairs in your house that's more qualified to do this. But who are you trusting?
Got four legs and its tail wags a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Chases his tail around like Spurs does. I said yesterday, Chris, just off of the tangent, I said I sat there yesterday watching Stanley, my puppy. Yeah. I sat there watching him chase his tail the other day for 20 minutes like an absolute dickhead. And I thought, that's Tottenham. He's showing me Tottenham Hotspur. I'll get back to my final question, right? Who do we trust right now, Chris? Let's say Thomas Frank is sacked. Who are we trusting to go, this is the next manager to lead us to glory? Who at Spurs?
I think the worry is that Tottenham lack footballing men. And we've got a CEO who is potentially a football administrator. I don't think when he was doing the job at Arsenal, he was the man behind the football movers and shakers. When he came to Tottenham, he was always coming in as Levy's number 2. Levy had foresaw no likelihood of him leaving the club. That was a massive shock to him. One of the first things where Vinay exposed his vulnerabilities and weaknesses was in respect of Paratici and Lang. He should have sacked one of them. You can't have 2 co-directors of football. It's either one or it's the other. And then who is actually in the background? In days gone by, you had Ian Broomfields, you had Paul Mitchells, you had David Pleats, you had Harry Redknapp, you had Kevin Bonds, you had Joe Jordans, you had footballing people who knew the game inside out. Now we seem to be a mixture of LinkedIn hires. And has anybody in that club got any credibility? Does anybody know what they're doing? My suggestion would be no. And we spoke very recently around David Pleat. I would call that man back tomorrow. He might be late into his 70s, potentially even his 80s, but he knows football. He knows what it's about. And those above Vinay, they're investors. They are global capitalists. That all they care about is money, and they will make money, make even more money. They haven't got the first clue about football. So when you dig deep into the trenches, our foundations are extremely weak and fragile, and we haven't got anybody that's going to carry this club forward.
And that's the mad thing, isn't it? Listen, I said yesterday, it was the first time I've said this season, I do think he will get sacked. I think it's harsh, but I do think he will get sacked. I feel like this guy will be sacked from Tottenham. In the next 6 months, I think he'll get a job with a smaller club, so to speak. He'll be there for 3, 4, 5 years, and he'll have more fun. I think he'll have a better time. He'll be backed. He'll know what the plan is. I think at Tottenham, I feel sorry for whoever the next manager is as well, Rain. And you're right. I don't trust Vinay to make that appointment. I don't trust Paratici to make that appointment. I don't trust Lang to make that appointment. And Chris is right. We need Lubo always says this. We need a Spurs man there, whether it's a Harry Redknapp looking after football operations, whether it's a Glenn Hoddle type, whether it's a Pleat type, because at the moment, Rain, we are rudderless, aren't we? Like on and off the pitch, this club is forget the loss yesterday. This is shambolic, right? I don't think I'm being dramatic. I think it is shambolic.
And everybody wants that magic bullet. Everybody wants that shot of his Zempic that's going to fix all of the problems. Yeah. And ultimately, what do we as fans actually care about? Performances on the pitch. That's what we really care about. But we know intellectually that it doesn't just happen by magic. We know that there has to be something in the background. There's hierarchies. There's organisations that make sure that we get the best players onto the pitch and that they can then perform to the best of their ability. And right now, we've got no structures at the club to do that. And in fact, if we got rid of Frank, and to be clear, I've got a lot of problems with Frank, right? I've got a lot of personal. Me and Frank, we're not seeing eye to eye at the moment. I had a chat with him last night. Yeah. And a month or so ago, I was like, I really don't care. And actually, I'm starting to care a lot more for very specific reasons, for things that he is personally responsible for, that I don't think he's doing right. But if Frank goes, I think our ship would just have no crew. I think it would just be the Murray Celeste Club drifting without anybody actually giving us any direction.
But Rain, so I summed it up earlier like this. I think Frank is a problem. But sometimes, when you look at a football club and you think there's loads of good stuff going on, but the manager is the problem. Notice how I said I think Frank is a problem. I also think the squad is a problem. The scouting network is a problem. The medical staff is a problem. The owners, the directors, right? The transfer windows. The problem for me with this is when you've got multiple problems, we're all focusing on this one problem because that's the one problem that's the easiest to solve, isn't it? It's the easiest one to solve.
The shot of Ozempic.
Of course. So I don't disagree that Frank needs to get sacked at some point. The worry moving forward, both of you, is that I think that we're going to get that shot of Ozempic. I like this analogy. But then I think when that Ozempic runs out after the first month, Chris, we're going to all realize, this runs really deep. Like this shit runs deep and isn't just Thomas Frank. I'm not absolving him of blame, but for me, there's lots of different 10, 15% to blame, and he's got his. And fans, for me, think he's 100% to blame are going to get a shot, Chris. Only my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with Rain. He's not the problem, but he's part of the bigger problem. And when I say that, when I watch the games, we lack any identity in our gameplay. There's no real style of play. The movement off the ball is so poor. And when offensively, when we go 1-0 up, we try and contain the opposition. And in the last two games, specifically against Sunderland, we were deeper and deeper and deeper. And you knew that Sunderland would go. It was not, are they going to score, when they're going to score. And I dare say if there'd been an extra 15, 20 minutes in that game,
they probably would have won it.
So, but collectively, the whole club from top to bottom is a mess. Like when we wheeled out the manager after the game and that Cabbage guy's there who does the Tottenham TV punditry, and it's rubbish. It's awful. The most loyal person we've got at that club who oozes Tottenham's Paul Coit. And unfortunately, he can't play right wing or central midfield anytime soon.
Well, Chris, he might have to, because what I want to move it on to, guys, is I saw this really good post written by a really good YouTuber called Savva, I think his name is. I'm going to show you what he wrote. And let me just make sure I get this right. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. So here you go. So I posted this earlier, and the reason I posted this is this gives you an indication that maybe Paul Coit might have to play this weekend, Chris. Because I put here, hang on, let me just blow that up a tiny bit for all those people at the back and for me. So you can see I've said there, if things weren't bad enough at Tottenham, we now have more awful injury news to Bergvall, who is going to be out for a while. Bentancur, we've heard his injury is bigger than expected, which means, minimum of a month. Kulu, who has had an injection, and we won't know for another 4 weeks until he can get back on the grass. Essentially, Kulu is going to miss the season, right? Kudus is not back until April, right? Adogi is still out, but even when he comes back, he'll have 45 minutes and then he'll be injured again. Maddison is still out. Solanke is still out. Basuma and Sarah Afcon. And this is the squad we've got for this weekend, guys. And this is why I wrote this, right? We have got the 3 goalkeepers, Vicario, Kinski and Austin. 2 right backs in Porra and Spence. Suddenly our centre backs is where we're stacked with those 4. Our only left back is Ben Davis. We have 2 central midfielders available. That is Paulinho and Gray. We have Odegaard as the only winger. Simmons as the only attacking midfielder. Tell as the only left winger. And then 3 really crap centre forwards for me in Richie, Mawani and Scarlett. That is 18 footballers, guys, made up of 3 goalkeepers, Scarlett, Gray, right? Odeber, Tell, Davis. Look at the state of this club right now. Rain, where the F do we go from here, my man? What are we even hoping for at the weekend and moving forward?
I mean, wait a minute. I mean, we also need to mention Dragos. There's loads of talk of Dragosin going out. So, that reduces us even further. How many times have we heard the injury is worse than anticipated?
Yeah,
maybe they should be anticipating that injuries are going to be a little bit longer when they first happen. Maybe they should stop getting players to walk off the pitch. That drives me absolutely potty. You still think back to Liverpool getting Isaac to walk off the pitch with a broken leg. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers. What happened to stretchers? Get the little buggy cart that they had at what was it? USA 96 or 94, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the little buggy cart. These clubs can afford it. I'm sure they can afford the fuel for those little buggy carts to go out and collect the players. I mean, Bergvall last night, it was quite clear he was injured. Right? It was quite clear he was injured. And actually, Chris, I think you missed one. Subs. It drives me potty. Sunderland, Lebris absolutely managed that second half, and Frank didn't. That was a turning point for me. Was the way that Frank completely mismanaged that second half against Sunderland, and he did it again last night. It was quite clear that Bergvall was struggling and injured. He should have been pulled straight away. We need to protect these players. We need to make sure that we can get the best teams out as often as we can. And if they're running around on a hammy for 10 minutes, that's probably going to add 2 or 3 weeks to their recovery time. Get them off. And I don't care if you don't have the quality on the bench. Put the quality that you've got on. You've only got what you've got, so put it on. I don't care. It's mismanagement from top to bottom.
Completely agree.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? But Chris, there is
the biggest concern for me is not this weekend against Villa. It's the fact that we've got West Ham at home and then we've got Borussia Dortmund in the cup. So we are lining out. There's plumes of white smoke above the chimneys at the Tottenham Stadium at the moment, where we are preparing to concede because we are not going to get back into the Champions League for years to come, and we are going into that half-cocked. And you just think it's just failure on so many levels. We lack any strategic planning or direction or vision. It's just ridiculous.
But Chris, I think half the problem this season for me is we're not a Champions League team.
Well, no, we defaulted. We lumped one.
And I think do you know what? Winning a trophy was amazing, right? But this is what I see so many people say this now. It's a double-edged sword. It was absolutely
papering over the crowd.
It was amazing for getting the monkey off the back of not winning a trophy for 17 years. But it propelled us straight into a European competition that we're not ready for, that the board weren't ready to buy for. And listen, I've got no doubt we will go out the Champions League very soon. And I've got no doubt that there's going to be a lot of defeats coming, because from those 18 players, that means Paulinho and Gray are going to have to play every game, right? Paulinho and Gray are going to have to play every game. And what it means is that Basuma is going to have to be given a bit of a redemption arc here, because Basuma is going to come back from the AFCON. He's got to play. He's going to have to play, whether the fans like it or not. Because, guys, who's the centre mid? Here we go. It's a question. After Paulinho and Gray, right now, who's your centre mid? Who's going on if one of them gets injured? Luca Williams-Barnett.
We just, again, we're so lacking in options. Like another one that returns from AFCON, Papa Matassar. But I've always said, what is he? What does he offer you other than an athletic guy who can run all day? He's not a defensive midfielder. He's not a box-to-box midfielder. He's not an attacking midfielder. What he is another that we hyped up far too early. And he's now got to the point, if somebody offered me 30 to 40 million pounds, I'd be, thanks for the memories, off you plop.
It's madness. Look, I And I think that this is why, I keep saying I think that the manager will go, but I genuinely think, guys, and I said this on Sean's show this morning, that until we change up there, I don't mean in my loft, until we change up there, nothing fundamentally is going to change. This squad is really shit. This manager, I'm going to say he can't cope, but at the moment, I don't know which manager would cope with the shit that we've got going on. But there is green shoots. You ready, guys? There is green shoots, because in the last 5 minutes, Florian Plettenberg has given the great news that we've all been waiting for. That, as reported on our Sky show and now confirmed, Bayern were never seriously in the race for Sousa. The 19-year-old left-back is now on the verge of joining Tottenham Hotspur, with Santos in concrete negotiations. Guys, first of all, I can't believe how long it takes to get a deal for a 19-year-old kid who's on about $4,500 a week. But secondly, doesn't this one transfer completely sum up Tottenham Hotspur? Or am I being harsh?
No, it's what we've always done. We need somebody ready for the now. It's another speculative pump for a kid. That could be your Brazilian Ryan Sessegnon, for all we know, who 2-3 seasons from now is playing on loan at Ipswich Town or something.
But Chris, I mean, you think about it, right? We're 2 days away from being a third of the way through the window.
Yeah, and
right?
Nothing.
And Sousa, listen, again, nothing against the lad. All right, guys, nothing against the young lad. But this is where we're at. This is where the £1 billion stadium was built for, so that we could get into a transfer window where we are seriously depleted on the ground. And our answer is to buy a 19-year-old left back. By the way, Rain, he's played 26 senior games in his career.
So I was literally just going on to Transfer Market because I wanted to get that stat, because I'd heard that he'd barely played any games, and I can't find him. I can't find him in Transfer Market. Do you know what I mean? This is the database, and he's not there. In the summer, we messed about trying to get Eze. There you go. This is Lange's database. I'm telling you. This is he comes on. He does 2 hours worth of work a day. This is his 2 hours worth of work a day. In the summer, we messed about, diddling around, trying to get Eze for few weeks. Arsenal had an injury to Havertz. Within 2 days, Eze had signed for them. We sell Johnson. That's great. He needed to be sold. We have an injury to Kudus, our only other right winger, Sunday. It's now Thursday. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Do you know what?
Big. I'm sorry, guys. I know that we don't want to say it, but the little cup, that Frank was holding, big club. Okay? The cup that I'm holding, or the football that I've got a picture of, that I've got a logo on up there, acting like a really small club.
We hear all this about Peter Charrington coming in to do a review of the football club, and we now hear whisperings of reviews being undertaken of the transfers that Levy negotiated and other internal dealings. Well, I hope somebody's going to come in and do a review and determine whether Vinay Ventakashian is actually suitable to run a football club, because everything tells me he's well out of his depth. He's not got the support he needs. He's not got the knowledge. And who is negotiating transfer deals? Our PR sucks. We need to be addressing things sooner rather than later. You've got players putting stuff out via social media channels, which you read. I was listening to Simon Jordan or somebody on Talk Sport this morning, and saying the post that Romero put out before he edited it and deleted the lies part would cause him kittens if it had been that would have happened when he owned Crystal Palace. Yeah. So you've got all these things going on. Then you've got, do you know what? When Van der Ven went over to the crowd last night with Pellini, I haven't got a problem with that, because at least it shows they care, and at least it shows they've got a bit of something about them. My problem is with the other 8 players who just put their heads down and went straight to the dressing rooms, because they're the weak-minded individuals. If it came to standing in the trenches with somebody, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near those guys. And if we lose to West Ham next Saturday, there's still 10 points. They're on 17. We're on 27 at the moment. So you would hope it wouldn't get into a serious relegation battle. But if it did, we've got such fragile and weak individuals that none of that team are fit for purpose when it comes to rolling their sleeves up and battling it out.
But with that in mind, what's so concerning is that Spurs again. I don't know how many windows in a row. I think the first time I said this conversation, I probably had a 6-pack, no lines on my head, a full head of hair, and I was about 20. Right? I'm now not that guy. I'm now old, not as old as you two. Just putting it out there, just to make myself feel a little bit better. But we're now, however many years down the line, guys, and Spurs are seriously not reading the room again. The first player we are in talks with in a January transfer window, the first window after Daniel Levy's left, is another child. And I don't want to be horrible about him. I've not seen him play. I've seen a video of him crossing a football and his crosses look good. But I've just checked him out on Transfer Market, guys, right? Let me show you on Transfer Market.
Yeah, I found him now.
How good did Ndombele look on those YouTube videos we all saw before he joined us from Lyon?
Well, but the thing is, Chris, at least we'd seen Ndombele play like in Champions League. This is a kid you can see here, right? Who's got 12 caps for the Brazilian under-17s, right? But if we scroll down here, you can see hang on, where am I going? So you can see here that he made his debut last May, this May, if I'm not wrong. He's played 24 games in the league. He's had 24 league games, right? This is where we're at. This is what Spurs, the hierarchy, the scouts, the man, whoever is in that committee have decided this is what Tottenham need first and foremost in this transfer window. This is embarrassing on all fronts. If, for example, you sent me this today, Chris, right? Villa have just signed a 16-year-old, right?
12 million quid, yeah.
But you know the difference is Villa don't need major reinforcements right now. So Villa can buy that 16-year-old and go and play in the under-21s for a few years, and we can graduate. Spurs need players now. Like we need first-team players now. We've gone and bought a 19-year-old left back that everyone will make. How long till we get the videos, Chris? How Sousa solves Spurs' problem?
The reality is that we can all accept, well, we three can, that this is a young kid you're bringing from a different continent. He's got to adjust to life in the United Kingdom. He's got to get round a colder climate. He's got to get round being away from his family. He's not going to be ready for a couple of seasons. He's not going to come straight into the first team. Yet we will still maintain playing Jed Spence, a right-footed right back at left back. And if you watch the early parts of the breakdown for the third goal that cost us the game last night, it was because Spence, the right-footed left back, always wants to cut back in on his right foot, and he conceded possession. If we're not going to play Ben Davies, we need somebody who is old enough and mature enough and good to go from the outset.
And let's be clear. Everybody always focuses on how good a player is technically. How good a player what are their physical attributes? What are their technical attributes? There's another reason why you want people who are 23, 24, preferably played in top leagues. There's another reason, which is they've had the mental fortitude, right? If any of you guys in the chat can remember what you were like as a 17, 18-year-old, right? I was all over the place, right? I was all over the place. In fact, I regularly say I should never have gone straight to uni from school. I should have had a year out to actually get some life experience under my belt, because I was bonkers at 18, and yet we are signing these players. And like Chris says, we're going to bring him the other side of the world, away from all his support networks. Yeah. And there's no way this kid is gonna go into this team. Can you see what our club is currently doing to a relatively stable, relatively intelligent, 55-year-old guy who used to be a teacher and used to have to deal with kids, day in, day out? Have you seen what we've done to that guy? And an 18, 19-year-old kid is the answer. I give you Johan Lang going on Football Manager, finding the next wonder kid who's going to be brilliant in 2 or 3 years' time on Football Manager, and thinking, I'm going to go and get him.
I know. I think we were linked with him the other night. So I read a snippet the other day that we're linked with some 19-year-old, I think he was Nigerian winger, Sani Suleiman, and he's playing for a club, AS Trensin, and they're talking, £6 million. I'm thinking, we built £1 billion football stadium. We qualified for Champions League football to sign some bloke who's playing, I don't know, what are they, the Hungarian league or something?
Absolutely. They're actually, Chris, I know this because I'm a good YouTuber that does my homework. Or because people message me all day about how shit Spurs are. They are 10th in the Slovakian league.
There you go. So we've gone from Eze, Semenyo, Akalush to a bloke playing in Slovakia. Well, I hope he's enjoying it over there.
Yeah. Someone said to me though, he's quick, and I was like, so's Linford Christie. I don't want him playing up front for Tottenham. I'm showing my age there, aren't I? Gone straight to Linford, lunchbox Linford.
Did you see, Savva? Did you see people instantly go, their physical prowess, their technical, they're not realizing there's far much more to being professionally performative, to being able to deliver, than just having the technical ability. It takes, even Zabi coming from, even all of these guys who come from Germany, who come from abroad, who come here, they all take time to settle. Why is that? It's because it's hard.
Look, let's be fair. And welcome, Mark. Welcome to the show. I hope you're well, my man. It's interesting, right? Because if somebody picked me up right now, even at my age, and dropped me in Sao Paulo to work, I think I'm going to need a bit of time to. I went there. I went to Brazil for the World Cup in 2000 and quickly get this, Savva, 2014. 2014, yeah. I went with my best mate for a month or so to the World Cup in Brazil. Honestly, I was lost. I was a grown-ass adult. I was lost. It was just so different to the UK. Anyway, Mark, welcome. Look, I want to be positive, and listen, I hope if this kid joins that we get to welcome him, and I hope he does well. But it's almost like they're just not reading the room, are they, Mark? In terms of, we are desperate right now for some men, and it all started, didn't it, with we need a left winger. We now need fullbacks, centre mids, centre forwards, wingers. We're a mess, aren't we, Mark? We're a bit of a mess. Oh, I think you're lagging, mate. Mark, I'm going to kick you. You need to kick you out. I think you need to try logging back in. There you go. I've kicked him out. But yeah, guys, look, it's, I saw today Roma are in talks with Atletico Madrid for Raspadori. Yeah. So international winger, moved there from Napoli in the summer, hasn't got the game time. Roma are about to loan him for 1.5 million euros with a 20 to 30 million euro buy option. Where are Spurs with these deals? I'm not saying, Chris, it has to be Raspadori, but there's deals everywhere, and we're looking in Brazil for 19-year-olds. It's just shit, isn't it? It's shit.
Not one that I'd be keen to sign at the moment, but the more I see of that Matthias Mane who plays for Wolves, the more I think they've got a good little prospect there who's scored twice in the last 2 games. It's a decent midfielder, that lad.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Look, where do we, Rain, where do we go from here as a football club? Because I feel like we are going to do the easy thing, which is sack the manager, and then we're just going to all hope that everything gets better. But we're in a transfer window. Like we're in the window. These are the times, Rain. So I'm not preaching to you. You know, there are 2 times in the year where you can uplift your squad and get better. This is one of them. And again, we're also fixated on what's happening manager-wise and director of football-wise that we're not actually bringing in players to help the squad right now. It's madness.
What we do is we've got, look, we're a rich club. We've got plenty of money. So what we do is we invest it all in building a time machine, go back to the summer. And when they sacked off Levy, I was at protests, right? I was at protests. I was one of the 15 before the Burnley game, right? Absolutely. I was one of the 15 before the Burnley game, right? And what was I protesting? I didn't want us to be a shower of like we had been in the transfer market for as long as I can remember. And actually, we kind of behaved okay, apart from signing late, and it was an improvement. But we're back. Here we are. Yesterday, somebody in a chat room said to me, because I was going off on one, and he said, "It's only been 7 days. How do you know? That there's not lots of stuff in the pipeline?" I said, "Mate, I don't care. What I know is." I said, I tell you what I do know. There's nobody in now. There's nobody here now.
Yeah.
That's what I know. And do you know what? You're right. It's been a whole week and they've done nothing. And we are desperate. There's a reason why they've done nothing. It's because there's nobody to do anything.
It's not plans.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, who's negotiating the transfers? Who's leading the recruitment? And if it's Lang, we're knackered. We might as well not bother.
And Paratici's busy taking our players to go to his new club.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a Fiorentina. See, and this is why, guys, what I like to try and do on this channel is I'm very aware that the manager's going to get sacked, by the way. You guys both speak to me offline, and you know that I'm not naive to these facts. But I just don't want my channel to become all about Frank, because I think there's so many issues at this football club. And I think what's going to happen, right? I think what's going to happen here is all the people, like we have some childish people like little Marios in the chat who truly believes that all of these signings will be on Frank. Like, do we truly believe that when Jose was here, Jose Mourinho said, you know what I need? I need Matt Doherty. I need Joe Rodon. I need Gedson Fernandez. I need Vinicius Jr. Like, how silly do fans have to be to not see, guys, that the managers have very little say in what they get given at this football club?
That forgettable moment when Levy went to Portugal and came home with the wrong Fernandez. Oh my God, we got Bruno Fernandes. No, we got Jedson. Yeah,
it's madness. Like no one's going to tell me, right? Maybe you guys tell me. No one's going to tell me that Thomas Frank has been offered loads of left backs and has said, no. You know the one I want? I want that guy that's only played 24 games in Brazil. I mean, can we be grown-ups about this, guys? That has not happened at all, has it? There is no way this is the guy that he has gone everywhere. You're telling me he wouldn't have wanted anyone from the Premier League or France or Italy or Spain. He went straight to wanting that one kid. It's ridiculous.
My fear is anybody with anything about them who's watching Tottenham's performances of late will say, I don't want to come anywhere near this place as the club stinks the room out. And there's going to be players, potentially linked agents talking to them. And if they've seen the way we play offensively over the last few weeks, they'll be having second thoughts of coming anywhere near this club. Because at the moment, we've got a manager who stifles offensive play. Or
has he not got the players for offensive play?
I'm just saying, if you continue to play that way, you're going to put a lot of people off coming to work for you.
Sure, but Chris, hang on, this is where I'm going to have to disagree with you, right? This is where you look in the last 2 games, how many times we got into the box against Bournemouth against Sunderland with Tell, with Odegaard, with Richie, with Mwani. What can they do? These guys are not good enough. What? Now swap that out with last year's four of Maddison, Son, Kulu and Solanke. We're not in this position we're in right now, are we? Let's be brutally honest. If those four were playing, we'd be able to attack. We'd be creating more and scoring more goals. So what are we meant? What's he meant to do with that forward line?
I mean, last night, Mwani, what, 10 touches in 80, 10 touches in 80 minutes, no shots. Give him his due. Richarlison came on for 10 minutes, had 2 shots.
Yeah.
Right? You know, actually did something, and I cannot believe that that's how low we've got.
It's mad. We've got to the stage where Richarlison is the best striker at Tottenham Hotspur. I'm embarrassed. That just came out my mouth. I just said that and I meant it.
The thing that makes me laugh is for every game that Solanke doesn't play, he gets better amongst our fan base. The more football he misses, what a big miss Solanke is. Great striker. No, he was terrible when he played last season. It was another wasted transfer and last minute scramble when we'd had the whole of the summer available to us.
I mean, can I just say, sorry, listen, Marios, look, I mean, really, you think that the striker that was signed with 4 hours to go of the transfer deadline day because Solanke got injured was Thomas Frank's choice? Like, this is where I feel if you don't like somebody, like a manager, that's fine, guys. But surely we've got to have the maturity to really understand how this works, right? He was joining Juventus the day before. It fell through. Solanke's injury got confirmed, and then we went and got Mwani on the last day. We can't just blame Thomas Frank for everything. This is where I'm struggling, Mark. I find it's getting a little bit silly. If they don't like him, say it. But we can't start thinking that 19-year-old Brazilians are what he wants and Kolo Mwani on the last day of the window was his choice. This is ridiculous, isn't it? Or is it?
No, do you know what? I was evening, everyone, and apologies for before.
Good evening, man.
Even the Wi-Fi is a shambles at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
It's Spursy.
so I've gone the Spurs option and gone low resolution on my camera to see if that helps. No, do you know what? I was logging in a couple of minutes ago, and I thought, where do I start? Because everything is such a shambles. And for me, it comes down to just years of negligence, lack of planning. And I thought the key question is, you know, I was talking to my brother-in-law last night, and he was talking about, oh, yeah, but this isn't the Tottenham way. I mean, when was the last time you played the traditional Tottenham way? You know, and the key question for me is, you know, what are we and what are we trying to be? Because can anyone really give me an answer?
No.
I don't know, Mark. Also, to play the Tottenham way, you've also got to have loads of really good technical footballers that can play that style. The way we did under Harry, the way we did under Poch. I don't understand how. I'll call it out. I don't care if you're anyone on this panel, anyone in the chat. I don't care if you're my best mate, my mum, my dad. I don't care. If anyone is watching these players and thinking they're going to play good football, I am really baffled as to why. This is the worst group of players I've seen at Tottenham for 3 decades. There you go. I said it. I keep watching Bergvall, Gray, Bentancur, right? I watch Tell, Odegaard, Richie, Mwani, and I'm thinking, who is it that fans think is going to be playing this nice, attractive, attacking, offensive, link-up play? This is dreadful. This is a dreadful set of footballers for me.
So, Savva, I went and I did some research for a show, and I went back and I watched some long highlight reels of 2014 to 2018, and it was both uplifting and depressing because the amazing football that we played at that time under Poch was just, you know, it just takes your breath away, and just it's amazing that it's less than 10 years ago, right? That's how far we've fallen. But we cannot take our eyes away from the fact that as well as Harry, Son, Dele, that squad was built on Eriksen, ball-playing midfielder, Dembele, never lose the ball 8,
class.
Wanyama and Dyer, really disciplined, sitting DMs, right? So here we go. There it is. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, co-host.
Does any one of our 25, 30-man squad get in this 11?
Not one. No.
Not one.
No. You look at the quality of the centre halves there.
And do you know what? Just to give for some of the younger fans who may not have seen him play, I read a stat the other day that Dembele went 6 whole months in the Premier League without losing the ball once.
A monster. Wow. Yeah, the way he shielded the ball and glide past people.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there.
And then there's us against Sunderland. Against Forest. We lost the ball 26 times, unforced errors. Against Sunderland, marked improvement, only 25 unforced errors, losing the ball, right? And Dembele, who so many people will tell you, he wasn't actually that good, as Mark said, 6 months, zero unforced errors, never lost the ball. Guy was amazing.
But Rain, right? When you look at that team, right? Look at the technical ability on the ball of Walker, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Dembele, Eriksen, Dele, Son, Kane, right? All of them, all of the 7 I just named there, or 8 I just named there, were all super comfortable on the ball, wherever they were on the pitch. I now look at Spurs, and I don't see any technical footballers. We've bought a lot of runners. I watched last night and against Sunderland. I'm watching Tell and Odegaard. And I thought Tell did some nice things last night. But when he does nice things, it's when it's very reactive. But when it's, can you control the ball, take a touch and slow it? He's not got that. Odegaard has not got that. Mawani, Richarlison, Bentancur, Gray, Bergvall, Sarr. None of these players are technical. They're all good athletes, but none of them are technical. So I don't understand how we change. What I don't understand is there's a lot of fans that think if a new manager comes in, suddenly the football's really going to improve. The players have got to. The players will also need to be changed along with the manager. This isn't just about one man. Yeah. So I keep using this sentence. You can't just. That's the key word, right? You can't just change the manager because the players have now shown for years that they are not good enough. This is years and years now of losing games for fun. We have lost 40, I think we worked out yesterday, 43 games in the last 87, 88. That is 50% nearly of games lost in the last 80. But we're all sitting there going, these players are better than we're seeing. Based on what? Based on what are they better?
Well, you look, I was just going to say, you look at Pap Sarr. Has he even got a minute at AFCON at the moment?
Has he not?
I don't think he has.
Let's check.
Let's check. It feels like defeats become acceptable at Tottenham. It doesn't worry us anymore. We don't get our bees in a bonnet about it. And standards have really slipped. You look at that team that we were addressing earlier, well, it became acceptable to sign cheap replacements and second-class options. And people have just got complacent and happy with that. And if I came in as manager tomorrow, I'd be getting rid of Vicario, I'd be getting rid of Porro, I'd be getting rid of Romero and Bentancur straight away. And most of them have been signed by, guess who? Paratici. And if we're scrabbling around in this window and him and Lang are anywhere near our transfer involvement, we're knackered. Neither of them should be anywhere near the club.
So there was a comment at 5:56 by Carlson 7.
Oh, this guy hates me. Don't worry, he hates everything about me.
Well, this is brilliant. I love this. That is why you have a manager to improve the players. That team Poch had didn't make itself. Do you think Poch was telling Ericsson, this is how you play one-touch football? Do you think Poch was telling Dembele, this is how you keep the ball, this is how you turn on a sixpence and avoid your next player? He wasn't, mate. He wasn't doing that at all. What Poch was doing was, yes, motivating the players, but also Poch was putting the right players out on the pitch, but they were already good players. You can't look, good players, bad manager. Do you know what? You'll get some decent results. Bad players, great manager, you'll still get bad results. It doesn't. This good manager, right? The only way he can improve performances, if this is rubbish, if the players are rubbish, is to get new players.
Look,
just to go to the Sarr thing, they'd already qualified and he started their last group game
against Benin.
And he's not had another minute in either side of it.
He's played one game. In that. Look, but again, this is what we've bought. Sarr is a runner. Basuma is a runner, right? Yeah. Bergvall is a runner. Like Odeber, Tell, these Richie, they are runners. There's no one there where you go, right, fire the ball into that player. They're going to take a touch, scan the park, James Maddison. You put the ball into James Maddison wherever he is on the pitch. He's got time on the ball. His first touch puts him into a position where he knows who he's going to pass to because he's a footballer. First and foremost, he's a footballer. This is my problem, right? When people keep telling me, like, stop blaming the players. Okay, I'm blaming the players. I'm blaming the manager. I'm blaming the scouts. I'm blaming the director of football, and I'm blaming the owners, right? If you do not buy technical players, you are not going to control games of football. This is not rocket science. This is how it is, right? Newcastle United. Why have Newcastle improved over the last 3 years? Because they've gone and put Tonali and Guimaraes in midfield. Funnily enough, both very technical, competent footballers that say, hey, give us the ball, we'll dictate. What did we do? We went and bought Bergvall, Gray and Sarr.
And actually, I'm not having a go at the players per se. You know, it's not their fault they were bought. You know, if someone turns around to you and goes, oh, Tottenham Hotspur are offering you 40 grand a week to go and play for them, you're not going to turn it down, are you? You know, it's just, it comes back to the club. What is our identity? Where are we looking to go? If we're looking to genuinely get into the Champions League places on a regular basis, the likes of Sarr, Richarlison and co are not going to do it.
The interesting thing for me, sorry, as my light has just completely given up. The interesting thing for me is I showed this. This was before the Sunderland game, all right? So this was before the Sunderland game, guys, right? That was Spurs' last 82 games, right? So in the last 82 games of football, the only two teams worse than us are West Ham and Wolves. But then I've got people going, don't blame the players. So sorry, you're telling me, right, that for 82 games, that is what they do, but they are better than we're seeing. At what stage, Chris, let me ask you, at what stage are we allowed to turn around? By the way, both things can be true with Frank as well, but at what stage are we allowed to turn around and say, yeah, these players aren't good enough and they have shown it now over a very long period of time?
I think when we finished 17th last season.
Right. Yeah. But this season, people are going, they're better than we're seeing.
It's a continuation. It's a continuation of the erosion of our football club over the last 3 or 4 years. These things don't just happen overnight. It's the same as West Ham, selling Rice, not using the money wisely, selling Kudus. Now they're likely to go down. If we don't sort ourselves out, we'll be following them. We'll be the next club to go down. But I'm going to leave you fine fellas to it to continue this depressing and suicidal chat. But remember, Samaritans are out there for us all.
Speak soon, Chris.
Take care. All the best.
Take care.
Sorry, guys, ignore me. I'm having an absolute mare with. My light is Spursy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but I was actually going to say.
Do you see what I mean, though, guys?
Yeah.
Honestly, when people keep saying to me they're better than we're seeing, no one can give me the evidence to say that that's the case. I am showing data, right? I am showing actual data that happened. I'm not using my heart. I'm not using my feelings. This is where Tottenham Hotspur are, right? But no, we're better than that. It's all Thomas Frank. Why is that all Thomas? Like, why? I don't get it.
Because they want the shot of Ozempic. We want the magic bullet, the single answer to a very, very complicated question. And the reality...
I mean, sorry. What, the Conte and Mourinho, who had Harry Kane and Son banging in 60, 70 goals between them a season, had it worse. See what I mean, guys? This is the problem. We've got to, I'll call it out. I'll be rude. I don't care. We've got too many children in the fan base that don't know the club. How on earth can we say a team that had Conte had a front three, by the way, let me make sure I get this right, okay? Because I've got it written down. Because unlike people like Marios, I do my homework, guys, right? You know, I learned at school and at college. Right. Here you go. In the year we got fourth with Conte, right? Harry Kane, Kulusevski, and Son. Do you want to know how many GA those three got between them?
Wasn't it like late 60s, early 70s, isn't it?
Rain, you want to guess?
94.
Okay. Bearing in mind, Kulusevski played half a season.
Half a season,
right?
yeah.
By the way, not even half a season. He played February through to May, right? They got 73 GA between Son, Kane, and Kulu. I'll ask this question now. If Son, we are crap right now, but if our front three right now was Son, Kane, and Kulu, where would we be?
In their prime as well, really.
In their prime, where would we be with Son, Kane, and Kulu of that season? Because again, all you'd have to do is defend, give it to those three, and go on.
Yeah, fourth or fifth, easy. Fourth or fifth, easy. Yeah.
Right. This is the point. Listen, I'm not saying Thomas Frank is great. Thomas Frank, I said last night, for all those saying I'm sticking up for him, Thomas Frank's going to get the sack. My question is, when we get through the other side of Thomas Frank, there's going to be a lot of people very, very upset when the same thing is happening because the same players that have let down the last 2-3 managers are still playing. But this time, without Kane and Son. 73 GA that season. 73 GA between 3 footballers. And we're going...
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're saying, but those managers had it worse. I genuinely don't get it. I genuinely don't get. Sorry, maybe I'm going mad, but this is one of the worst squads, guys, I've seen at Tottenham in the last 3 decades. There's no nothing.
I think we're in for a crash, and
agreed.
The real concern, Savva, is how low is that crash? You know,
agreed.
Chris brought up the prospect. Could we get relegated if we carry on like this? It may not be this year, but it's going to happen. It will, because we're not getting better as a football team. We're not getting better as a club. However, there are upsides. There is sun on the horizon. We are a rich club. That's what's kept us going for the last 10 years. Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, some other players sprinkled in. I can't remember when Alderweireld and Vertonghen left. we've kept going, mainly because we are incredibly rich. We are a very rich club. Why are we a rich club? Because mugs like me are paying thousands of pounds to go and watch us every single year. Mugs like me and Chris we've got season tickets, and historically, and I'm sure it's going to hit our balance sheet. I'm sure it's going to hit our P&L. Historically, a lot of Koreans were paying huge amounts of money to go to games. But we are still a very rich club. What we need is organisation, and for somebody to come and give the club direction and purpose. Vinay, I'm sorry, mate, if you're listening, if you're watching, you're not doing it at the moment. You're not delivering. You need to get on top of it. You need to get the right people in. You need to be talking to the fans, because the longer you don't talk to the fans, the more incidents there are going to be, like between Van der Ven and a fan in the stands at Bournemouth. That comes from frustration, and frustration comes from human beings not being communicated with. The club needs to pull up their big boy shoes, put up their big boy socks, and actually get on with the job that we pay them for.
It's such a shame, isn't it, Mark? Because look, I mean, we're all of a certain age here, right? Where we've seen it. Look, we can all. I can confidently say we can all remember absolutely everything of the Premier League era. I can remember everything of the 90s, and I can remember half of the 80s. I can definitely remember the latter 4 years of the 80s, right? I see people all the time telling me, Savva, this is a good squad. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I've never been as disinterested in a set of footballers as I have with this squad. We've always had a waddle. I mean, if I go back to when I first started watching Spurs, right? The first people I started watching were Waddle and Hoddle, right? Caught the end of Hoddle, right? Waddle, Hoddle. Then, and Clive Allen. Then moved into the Gazzers and Linekers. Then moved into the Sheringhams, the Andertons, the Klinsmans, right? Then moved into the Berbatovs, the Keanes, the Defoes. Then into the Modric's, the Bales, then the Dembélés and the Sons and the Kanes. This is one of the worst sets of players, technically and ability-wise, I think I've ever seen at Tottenham. Where are these people getting this idea, Mark, that this is a really talented squad? Where has this come from?
I want to say FIFA, but it's the FIFA age, to a degree. But I was just checking to make sure I got my dates right, because my initial thing was I would say this is only beaten squad-wise by the late 90s, maybe, when we had the likes of Nethercott, Dean Austin. Yeah. That Kevin was terrible. I'm just looking here.
Yeah.
Paul Mahorn.
Yeah.
Ian Walker, John Hendry.
But you know what? During that late 90s stage and the mid 90s stage, we had a couple of diamonds in the rough where I remember, like, when I had my season ticket, I remember we'd go down to Spurs and it would be like, right, what's the team going to be? And you'd be like, okay, all right, Nilsson and Freund are going to be in centre mid. All right, Sinton's going to be on the wing. But you know what? Don't worry, Janola's playing. And you'd go, Janola, right? You'd go, by the way, all take a little bow to my man, Janola. And you'd go, all right, we got Campbell at the back. Sorry, I know we're not allowed to say his name, but you got Campbell at the back. You'd have a couple of superstars where you go, team's crap, but I know I'm going to see something. Now I watch this, I don't see, there's no one I would buy their shirt. There's no one for a young fan to look at and go, yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah, growing up, he wasn't the greatest of players, but he got the ball, ran at people. The very first shirt I had was a Rule Fox shirt. Not the greatest player, but at least he could hold the ball up, take a man on, got the ball, ran at them, excited the fans. We don't have any of that now.
No. But look,
Is that
Go ahead, Sheriff.
You guys watch Spurs, right now, in this current team, when you watch Spurs, who is the guy where you think, all right, we're not playing well, right? We're not playing well, but you know what? We've got half a chance because that guy, like, remember how shit we were under AVB? But Gareth Bale would get it and you'd go, something's going to happen here, right? Kane, Son, they did it for a decade, right? Who is the guy now in this team where you go, don't worry, we're losing with 5 minutes to go, but that guy is capable of magic?
The closest to it is Maddison, and he's injured.
Right.
So,
right.
I think you're disrespecting Xiao overhead kick, bicycle kick, Paulinia. I remember in the 90s being really, really worried that we'd signed Andy Sinton and he was going to be our left winger. I think you're missing one really critical point, Sav, about all of those teams. The players we had squads of players who knew their position, and they were all. They may not have been fantastic and superstars. They may not have been the Ginola, the Klinsmann, who were sprinkled in, but the rest of them were competent footballers who understood the position that they were playing and played it. And that's all you need. That's all you need. What you need in a squad of 15 is 11 guys who know their job and do it to a 6 or a 7. And then three or four others like a Sonny, like a Dele, like a Harry, who can hit the 8s and 9s and they will drag you through. At the moment, we've got nobody. In a WhatsApp chat, I said to somebody, and it's a fact, we have never qualified for the Champions League through the league without one of two people. Can you think who those two players are? Right? We've never qualified. No.
Sorry. Ask the question again.
We have never qualified for the Champions League through the Premier League in placings without one of two people being in our team.
So the first one was when Crouchy scored the thing. So that must be
Gareth Bale and Harry Kane.
Harry Kane had to be one, yeah. But
when neither of
the same team. Sorry, I've got you.
Yeah. So when neither of those two players are playing, we've never qualified for the Champions League through the league. So everybody thinks, we are Tottenham Hotspur. Actually, for the last 15 years, we've been the Bale and Kane show. You've
got to have quality. By the way, I just want to address one guy who constantly going at me, Contour Fitbit, whatever he's called. Dude, if you would actually listen to what I said at the start of the show and last night, I'm saying Frank's going to go, mate. You're not this take. Sorry, somewhere up here. You're so fixated on Frank that you're not actually listening to what I'm saying. I am trying to be the grown up and say Frank will go. What next? And the problem is everyone is so adamant that 100% of the problem is on Frank. What are fans like that going to do when a new manager comes in and things don't drastically improve? At that stage, are fans like that going to turn around and go, maybe it might be something to do with the players not being good enough? Right? Now, to your point, Rain, you've got to have some magic. You've got to have a goal scorer at least. You look at Villa. Villa in the last 3 or 4 years, Ollie Watkins has been banging in goals, right? You look now, they don't have that same Bale-like magic, but they've got someone like Morgan Rogers. He's capable of picking it up, thinking past, dropping his shoulder, bang, top corner 20 yards. Can any of ours do that?
Yeah, and do you know what? When I texted you at the time, didn't I? I missed you when you put the video out. But the fact we were linked to Zolis from Bruges, I know most people will probably go, not good enough, plays for Bruges. He gets the ball and just attacks the defenders. He's just so positive on the ball, delivers a dangerous cross time after time. He's the sort of guy we need. but we just won't go and get him. He'll be actively monitoring, and then you'll end up somewhere else.
Look, I agree with what Rain just said there, Mark, right? And sorry, Rain, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, and I'm going to take what you've said. I'm going to chat GPT it, right? I think what Spurs need to do, and I've said this so many times on this channel, I think right now we know we're not getting superstars. For me, go and buy players who know their role in a team, that are senior pro. Go and bring in. I keep using this guy as the benchmark. Go and bring in a Conor Gallagher. Go, right, Conor, you're my main midfielder for the season. You're fit every week. We know we're going to get a 7 or 8 performance out of you. You know the Premier League. You've captained in the Premier League. You're an England international. Boom. First, go and get 3 or 4 Conor Gallagher types across your team. They don't have to be fancy. Ivan Toney, Anthony Robinson of Fulham. Go and get 3 or 4 solid Premier League players that we don't all sit around and argue. We argue about Tell. We argue about Odegaard and about Gray and about Bergvall and about Sarr and about Benton because they're not good enough. If they were good enough, guys, we wouldn't all be sitting around. Does anyone argue about Van der Ven? Right? Why don't we argue whether Van der Ven should play or if he's any good?
Yeah, because there's no one to his quality, basically.
He's a quality footballer, right?
Yeah.
None of us, when James Maddison played, no one argues whether James Maddison? No one argues if James Maddison should start because he's a very good technical footballer. Look at everyone else in this team. People will argue each week, who should play? Should it be Bergvall or should it be Sarr? Should it be Gray or should it be Benton? Should it be Tell or should it be Odegaard? Why are we having these rows? Because they're not good enough.
Yeah, because no one performs. What is it? Odegaard 1 assist all season, is it? And yet people are crying for him to start week after week.
Mad. It's mad. It's mad. Look. He will go. He will go, guys. Yeah. I expect that. Listen, I don't think any manager can sustain this number of defeats. I've always said, you know what? Good luck to him. Get yourself sacked. Get your £12.5 million. Go and give yourself the rest of the season off and pick up another club in the summer where they will respect him. Let him build. The pressure won't be as much. The fans won't be as toxic. Go and do your thing. My concern isn't Thomas Frank. My concern is, all right, Thomas Frank's gone. It's 2026. What now? And this is the problem. Everybody is so adamant that it's all on Frank. Where are we going? Xavi. That's the name I keep hearing, guys. Xavi. You think Xavi's rocking up with this team and going, yeah, I can play my tiki-taka football with this lot?
Do you know what? That was my first comment when we spoke about it before, wasn't it? It was, can you imagine, and no disrespect to them, but can you imagine the likes of Gray, Palhinha, Richarlison, Tell playing tiki-taka? Because I can't.
Frank, it would probably do Frank some good to go to collect his cash and go and sit naked in a hot tub for 6 months in somewhere outside of Copenhagen. It would probably do him quite nicely. And you know what? He wouldn't think twice about Spurs, guys. We would be in his rearview mirror, and it would probably do him good. Because you look at that guy now and what he's having to deal with, what he is struggling through to try to try and get performances on that pitch. I wouldn't want that kind of stress.
One thing I will say, I think he's underestimated the scrutiny he'd be under at Spurs. I think
agree.
That was naive, and I think because he was such a part of the family at Brentford, and there was such a feel-good factor. I think he was naive in thinking it would be the same here if he lost a few games. You know, that's a big mistake he's made. But going back to
do you think, Mark, can I ask you a question? Do you think? I think that naively he thought that it would be that he can come in, take a few years, and that we'd all be behind him and say, "Go on, just learn and grow." And I think some fans, Mark, understand where we are and say, "Okay, this is going to take time," and other people won't. Do you think that's where he naively has
Yeah.
underestimated the scenario.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. Personally, I've never called for, and this isn't an Ange against Frank or anything like that. I'm just using the last manager. I wasn't him out until the start of the second season. Same with Nuno. I never called for him to go in his first season because the football was terrible, but we were at least winning games at the start. And, I'm willing to give people time, but I was talking to someone earlier, and this almost has the same feel. And again, I'm not comparing Ferguson to our previous managers. This has the same sort of feel because of the trophy we won at the end of last season as when Moyes went in after Ferguson. That no matter what he does, I can only see it end in one way.
Yeah. I mean, look, Rain, let me ask you, right? It's realistically, I want to play the game, right? I want to play the hypothetical game, okay? As I've said, I think if we take a Tonking to Villa, I think he goes. I think the only thing that will probably stop that from happening is the fact that I don't think there's a plan. I think, and I think that's a real sad indictment, isn't it? That there isn't a plan. But if he does go, realistically, where do we look for a manager? Is it an interim until the summer? Is there somebody that can come in? How long is that manager going to get, Rain? Are the fans going to acknowledge that this is not a 6-month fix finally and that we need years to repair the damage? What's
Mason's
that look like?
available.
Oh, Mark, you just pulled the rug right from underneath me. I was gonna fish him like a prize tuna. Ryan Mason is available, and it's I think it's a fact. I think the facts are that Binay is doing the analysis, and he can see that he doesn't have any option but to back Frank. They've got nothing. What are they going to do? And I think there's more parallels with Moyes and Frank and what Frank's going through, because what we all know is that Fergie left at the same time that Gill left at Man United. So the two massive power brokers, the person who kept the team ticking over and the person who kept all of the backroom stuff, all of the operational stuff, including all of the transfer teams going, both left. And what have we had at our club? We've had the guy who motivated the players and made himself into a father figure within that dressing room. It's quite clear that's what he did. And he did it very, very well. Admittedly, it was us against them, and them included the fans, right? Yeah. Unfortunately. And I still think we're seeing the results of that. But also, love him or hate him, the other power broker that left in the summer was Levy. And the 15 things that he micromanaged and didn't let anybody else do, nobody's taken that up. And who's that on? For me, that is on ENIC 2.0. They should have realised that there needed to be a massive reorganisation. Now, corporate organisation change can happen really, really fast or really, really slow. And unfortunately, at Spurs, it's happening really, really slow.
I mean, Mark, let me slightly different for you. I mean, a lot of people are talking obviously about Pochettino because we really are that lovesick teenager that can't quite let go of our first love. I find it quite nauseating, if I'm brutally honest, the love for a man that I thought did well, but it is what it is. Where are you with this Pochettino thing, Mark? Because for me, I'm of the opinion that right time, right players, right club, at everything at that time worked.
Yeah.
The chances of lightning striking twice and that just happening again?
Slim, to be honest. And part of me, I do have a little bit of nostalgia there. It would be nice to see him come back because he's talked about it for a long time of that being the name of his. But my concern is that, everything was just landed perfectly for him last time. And if we go back and it ends badly, I think it ruins his slight legacy at the club. And we're just not the same club anymore.
I always think that it's difficult because I think he did really well when building that. I say building that team. Most of the players were already here. So he only actually, from that 11, he only actually added 4 in about 5 years that played in that 11. But he did such a good job of coaching what was already there. However, when you look at the players that were already there, we knew Vertonghen was a Belgium international. We knew Hugo Lloris was the France goalkeeper, was about to win a World Cup. We knew Dembele was a good player, but we just need to get the best out of him. Eriksen was talked about as one of the best young playmakers in the country. Son had been bought with a big reputation, but he did a really good job of knitting it together, Mark. My worry is, would the fans, everyone says they'd be patient and allow him to build, but the memory of Poch is very much the team that had all those players that were in their peak and were free-flowing, scoring goals, Kane, Son, Eriksen, Ali. The worry is that he's coming back to something that is a million miles away from what that is without those types of footballers. Would this be a disappointment to fans? As you said, like ruining the legacy. Would this be, hang on, maybe it's not as good the first time around?
Yeah, my concern is that football's evolved. We saw that with other managers who were successful in the early 2000s, etc., not doing quite so well later on. And I think the fan base has evolved as well. I think they're, whether we like it or not, the fans are less patient. And that's not just Spurs, that's every club across the board. Can you really see those people, particularly the younger fans who can't remember the first Poch era, giving them the time? I can't, to be honest.
Yeah.
And, and going back to it, and we can talk about it all the time. Xavi's name came up earlier. Can you really at the moment see the club he's going to want? And I chucked the name out just because he's Barcelona. Can you really see Xavi turn into the club going, I want a Pedri?
Yeah.
Can you really see them splashing the money to get the players he'll need to do tiki-taka? And that's why... Yeah, I'm there was a comment from, frankly, someone, ironically, earlier, and I thought that made sense. He was talking about giving him the rest of the season, seeing where we're at then. Yeah, personally, for me, if we're 16th or 17th, I don't think he can stay.
Of course.
But I think it would be crazy for him to go now.
Well, the other part of this, Rain, is sacking a manager, again, it doesn't matter that it's Thomas Frank, sacking a manager in January, right? Sacking a manager mid-transfer window is a real delicate balance, right? Because players that you've been speaking to or players that you were about to speak to, surely the first question they're going to ask is, what the fuck is, what's going on? Like, what's going on? What's your plan? Hang on. Paratici first called me a few months ago. He's leaving. You've just sacked Thomas Frank, but I was so, like, there's that side to think about, Rain, isn't there?
I mean, obviously, we Chelsea and Man United have done it, so and we're all kind of waiting for another club who play in red to drop the boot as well, which would be bonkers, by the way. We've had 5th place and 6th place sack their managers, which is nuts. 5th and 6th place, and everybody's kind of half waiting for 4th place to kick their manager, which is I would just say on Poch, nostalgia is a very, very, very powerful force in human nature. An ex-boss of mine you used to say about nostalgia, you used to go, nostalgia's nature's way of making sure we have 2 kids, because we forget all of the crap that we had to put through, we went through with the first one. And it's absolutely, you do, don't you? That's it. It's all, running through the park. It's all going down slides. It's all, happy laughs and play, everybody happy around the dinner table. And then you remember, oh yeah, there were the nappies. Oh yeah, there was the crying. and that's the same with Poch. It wasn't all swings and roundabouts. It wasn't all running through the park with music playing. There were hard times that we went through, and people will forget. And do you know what? It's football. Those times will happen again. We will lose a game to Bournemouth in the last few minutes to a scorcher from outside the box. And do you know what? There absolutely will be people in our fan base who will go, we can all see it. In fact, I probably won't. I'm sure everybody in chat can come up with a whole load of sayings that people will come out with to explain why Poch is no longer the right man. Oh, he's not as good as he was before. Oh, it was the players that he had. It was this. It was that. And we can all predict 90% of the comments that people will come out with, because you know what? It's going to happen. I would love to have Poch back, but I also am smart enough to know that there will be bad times even with Poch.
Oh, for sure, Rain, for me, the problem is if Poch picked us up right now. By the way, I do think that people talk about Poch as though he's Sir Alex Ferguson or something, right? I feel like there's a slightly overinflated sense of achievement there. But I think if Poch picks up this team right now, his name will give him more buy-in than a Frank or a Glasner or an Irio. Sure. But I think, I'll say this again, whoever the next manager that comes in, Mark, this is years. This isn't a quick fix. And I liken this to if you are overweight. I mean, if you have abused your body for 10 years, right? Drinking, eating crap, abused your body. You used to be in immaculate shape and you're now massive, right? I can't just go to the gym for 3 months and go, I am cured. Everything I've done to my body in 10 years has been cured. And that's what I liken Spurs to. This is years and years, Mark, of neglect. And the problem is we think that that's going to change in 6 months. So whoever the next manager is, I'm going to say to them right now, yeah, unless you're doing that, right? Unless you're doing that. But even then, the side effects of that aren't there. But my point to this, Mark, is this. Whoever the next manager is, right? I've literally sat here and said, I genuinely don't care at this stage who the next manager is, unless they change at the top. And whoever the next manager is, Mark, I'm just going to turn around and say, welcome, good luck. And I'm going to wait and see how long until the fans erupt because they've not had the overnight success that they want to see. Is that fair, or am I being harsh? Well,
the first thing I'll say, if Frank goes now, I can guarantee you there'll be no permanent signings in January. You can forget that. Yeah. It'll be loan signings. So better the devil, and all that. Let's get some signings in. No, but I totally agree. It goes back to what I said earlier. I was logging in at the start, and I thought, where do you start with it? Everything is a mess. And I said at the time, it's all about a plan. We need to sit down. We need really good football people at the top who are going to look at the club and go, what are we now? Where do we want to be? How are we going to get there? And what's the identity we're going to form while we're getting there? At the moment, it just seems, I think our signings are indicative of the club. Everything is opportunistic. Yeah, there's no real plan behind it. You look at even Kudus in the summer. Decent signing, good signing. But let's be honest, we went for him because we knew West Ham needed the money. And if we sign Paqueta, maybe I think that'll be it as well. Yeah. And this is my worry, Mark. And I've tried to say this. I know that you two understand what I'm saying. This is all I've tried to say is I don't care about Frank. No. Frank can go. But when I ask the questions that involve what happens after, people go, always sticking up for Frank. No. He can go. I don't have any attachment to a manager or footballer, right? I'm a grown man that when I wake up tomorrow, when Kane was sold, you're pissed off for a few hours and then you're like, well, I'm a grown adult. I've got to pay my mortgage and my life moves on, right? I'm not going to cry because multi-million-pound football club loses multi-million-pound sports star.
But I genuinely am worried that I feel like not all of it, but a lot of the fan base, especially the younger side of the fan base, really post a lot of stuff as though they think this is a quick fix. And at some stage, whoever the manager is, whether they like that manager or not, there are going to be months where it's shit. There are going to be spells for 7-8 games where it is not working. It is crap. We have to get... And I don't think we're built for that because we're still thinking we are the Pochettino team from 2015 to 2018. And that's my worry with this fan base.
I was going to talk about, you look at the quality of the squad at the moment. You've got people ridiculing him. He shouldn't be here, but we've played a couple of games in the last week. Ben Davies was our better left back of the two games. Bournemouth's winning goal came from Spence again, cutting back on himself and playing a blind pass into midfield, and Bournemouth broke on us. And I just think, Ben Davies still being here. I'm a Welsh guy, love Ben Davies. Come on. Are we really...
It's a massive symptom.
Yeah.
Massive symptom.
Everything. Yeah. And I was discussing the state of the team. Look at that midfield. Nothing in midfield at all. And then we've got attacking players who have got 3 assists each. We got a striker who can't hold the ball up, and yet we're expected to score goals.
But Mark, do you know what? In my time of supporting Spurs, I can go back and say, God, that team had an awful midfield, but a brilliant attack. Or that team had an awful attack. God, we had good midfielders. Or I can't remember a time when I looked at a team and felt so void in every area of the pitch. Like every area of the pitch, I look at and I go, where's the real, where's the quality? Who, like you just said there, where's the goal scorers? Where's the creators?
Including the injuries. If you take the players out who are injured at the moment, let's be honest, the strongest part of our team are the centre-backs. Everything else, I would say, abysmal.
Yeah,
no quality.
I think we're crap. I think we're crap at fullback. I'll be honest. Yeah. I've never seen a squad put together. Well, hang on. I'll say this. This is a squad that's been put together for 6 different managers by 2 different directors of football over the space of 10 years. Let's not forget that, right? We should never forget that. The next manager who comes in, I am already feeling sorry for them because they are going to be the 7th manager, right, to have a group of players that have been bought for 6 different managers.
And then compare the style and the philosophies of those managers.
Right.
How many of those managers are aligned with the squad?
We have too many children in our fan base like this. They don't get it. It's easy to just scream Frank out, Frank out. Like, look, he's now being mocked for the job he did at Brentford, which was exceptional, by the way.
And let's remember, he signed Thiago, who was banging in all the goals for Brentford.
This Brentford team is what Frank built. Our fans are so much hating Frank that they can't even acknowledge what a good job he did at Brentford. We can't even say a nice thing because, that might be seen that I like him. Right? Look, let's bring this in, right? Like, have a look at the state of our fan base. This is why sometimes I don't want Spurs to be successful because of fans like this. Frank left Brentford and he's gone and they're 5th, right? And then he goes on to say, look at this. This is mental. Keith Andrews is far better than Frank, right? Let this sink in, guys. Let's just forget that Thomas Frank picked up Brentford in the bottom half of the Championship, right? With a really low salary cap. Took them all the way through to the Premier League when they weren't meant to be going up. Stayed up, has not once been in a relegation battle, not once was in the bottom 3 when every year Brentford were one of the favourites to go down. Left Brentford in a really nice place. The new manager picks them up, has a good start, and See, Andrews is better. Like, whoa, one of those blokes built the club. The other one, he built the club. Can't we even give credit where it's due?
And this isn't a shot at Liverpool or Slot or anything else. Look at Slot. Rode off Klopp's team the first season.
Right.
Now getting his own players in.
Right.
Struggling.
Right.
So Marius, there's some very famous gates at White Hart Lane. The famous big. Well, I'm explaining to him. I'm explaining to him like he's years old. And they're famous because a man stood next to them, and his name was Bill Nicholson. And even though we'd won lots of things before him, our club is still known as the club that Bill Nicholson built, right? But the fact is, in 10 years from now, Brentford will still be known as the club that Thomas Frank built. Now, I have no parasocial relationships with footballers. To be honest, mine died when Sol Campbell left. That was the moment when I was like, oh, right, that's what football's about. And I've never had a parasocial relationship with a footballer since. Yet I go and I love watching my club, but I'm not wedded to them. I wasn't wedded to Ange. I personally didn't think we should sack him.
Sure.
I'm not wedded to Frank. I was never wedded to Harry, and I never understood the fans in our fan base who were going, let him go. Let Harry Kane go. Let him. He deserves. Sod it. I want the best player that we've got at my club, so I can watch him play football. I don't give a monkeys whether he has a good life or not. I'm very sorry, right? But the reality is, you need some of us need to grow up and realise. Realize that this is the real world.
People's hate allows them to not be grown up about it. It's okay to say you don't want Frank at Spurs, but you can't just diminish the 7 years of work he put in at Brentford to stabilise them as a Premier League football club. He coached through Ollie Watkins, right? Ivan Toney, Mbuemo, Visser, Norgard, Damsgaard, Rico Henry, Nathan Collins. All of these players that bigger clubs have gone on to buy, right? So all I'm saying is at least give him the credit. But when people take 20 games of a season, by the way, Keith Andrews is 5th now. If they lose at the weekend, they'll be 10th. Are we really going to do this game where this week, they're 5th this week, it means he's amazing, they're 10th, right? But Marius, I'm going to have to block you. This is ridiculous. Marius, he was at Brentford for 7 years. He had time to build and grow and develop a team. You want him to have done it in 5 months.
Can I ask the question? Can I ask the question linked to that? If that's the basis, Frank won nothing. Right? Why on earth do so many people want Pochettino back?
Bang on. Right,
what did he really do for us then?
Here's another one, Mark.
Mental.
Keith Andrews is better than Frank because at this moment in time, for one game, they're 5th. Fine. Is Ange Postecoglou better than Conte because he took over from Conte and won a trophy? Is Ange Postecoglou a better football manager than Conte? This is the level of childishness that I really struggle on YouTube because of this level of childishness, right? It's absolutely crazy. Is Slot better than Klopp because he picked up the team and won the league with them?
Yeah, and so many people want Iraola. Yeah, he's on that basis, he's worse than Frank.
Right.
They're below us in the league.
It's so, honestly, I've never known anything. Also, can we look at this, right? And again, as I've said, this is nothing to do with him at Spurs. What on earth, when people say, this is how dumb, I will call these people out. Anybody who's offended by this, that means I'm talking to you, right? Anybody who says, Frank's never won anything at Brentford. What on earth was it you thought he was meant to be winning at Brentford? What on earth was he meant to be winning at Brentford?
Savva, if Frank had built Brentford into a club that won trophies, and let's be clear, I think Sean comes out with this stat, isn't it? 90% of trophies have been won by 5 clubs in the last 15 years. So if Brentford would have become one of those clubs, and let's be clear, Man City were not a trophy winning club before they were purchased, he wouldn't be at Tottenham Hotspur, mate. He would not. But Thomas Frank would not be at Tottenham Hotspur if he built Brentford into that type of a club.
I just look. I'm going to wrap up the show in a minute, guys. But I just find this level of football fan infuriating. They're the same fans that go, "This manager beat this manager. He's better." All right. So by these people's metrics, Thomas Frank's beaten Pep Guardiola this season. Is Thomas Frank better than Pep Guardiola? Like it's like in that my dad's bigger than your dad's stuff in the playground, isn't it? It's utterly ridiculous. Oh, Spurs drew with PSG. PSG beat Arsenal. That means Spurs are better than Arsenal. Like I've never known anything like it in my life. Look, we all know he's going to go, right? We all know he's going to go. Never been my issue with it, right? I've made peace with what Spurs are, guys. I'll round off the show with this and I'll do the super chats. I've made peace with what Spurs are, right? I've made peace that nothing is going to change at that level for Tottenham until these owners change. I've made peace with that many years ago, guys. I made peace with that. I thought, let me just state this once and for all for those that I truly believed when they got rid of Ange and brought in Frank, I thought, right, the whole club is going for a reset. What's the plan we're going to implement? Now, if that's me being naive or ignorant, I hold my hands up. I'm naive and ignorant. But unfortunately, they've not done that. Unfortunately, the club, at the moment, I can't say the club don't want to because they haven't sacked him. At the moment, the fans definitely don't want a build that will take years and years and years to happen. So I've made peace with it. The manager will go, fine, it's not worked. We move on. Will these other fans make peace with it, though, that the next manager that comes in and the manager after that are going to need time? You could bring Pep Guardiola to this football club right now. We would be opened up like a can of worms, right? And fans would still be going, this manager's rubbish. He can't get the best out of the players. So I've made peace with it. Will people make peace with it, right? And Maris, this is the last time I'm going to read out one of your comments. You think he wanted Mawani on the last day of the transfer window as a panic buy? For me, that shows you're a child. You're now blocked for good. I can't deal with you. You're an idiot. Sorry. I can't deal with it. It's ridiculous. Guys, I'm going to do some super chats. Big up to Josh, to chaps. If you were put in charge tomorrow, would you prioritise fixing the director of football recruitment team first or buying better footballers under Lang?
I wouldn't have Lang, to be fair. But
yeah.
He'd be gone.
I think they go hand in hand here, don't they?
Yeah, I genuinely, and I mean this, and it goes back to my point earlier about plan and having football people at the top. I talked to some of the people from this chat, and I genuinely think there are people in this chat who could go into that club and have a better recruitment strategy than Lang. You know, to sell Brendan Johnson, regardless of whether you think he's good or not, and not have a replacement immediately lined up is scandalous at our club.
You mean there are people in chat who are better at football manager than Lang? That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, right? Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%.
No, honestly, I think the immediate issue is that we need better footballers, to be honest, but both need to happen. Yeah.
And do you know what? This is, just before I get to the next super chat, this is exactly where I am, even though people don't want to listen. I'm all for the manager going, but it can't just be the manager. There's got to be so much more that changes at this football club. And unfortunately, we've got too many fans that can't quite wrap their head around it. They don't want the evidence of how crap we've been for the last 3 years, 4 years. They don't want the evidence. All right? They don't want the evidence. Big up to you, Josh. Really appreciate that, my man. Big up to Emma. Thank you very much. Good evening, Savva. Hope you're well. Hope you are well as well, Emma, over there in Teesside. Big up to you, my friend. Big up to Marianne. So what's wrong with those in charge of the club? Where do we start? Do those bastards want us relegated? We already needed many good players, and now with the new injuries, they only buy an unproven 19-year-old. Look, I don't think we're in any danger of relegation this year because the others are so bad. But if we keep heading this way and keep buying only kids, I don't understand what's going to change. You're absolutely right, Marianne. Big up to you. Big up to Adam Moore, just putting in a cheeky little, is that a check? Is that
check?
Check
Corona, yeah.
There you go. Big up to you, Adam, out there in the Czech Republic. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. He's come back in again and said, do you think Romero's comments hurts our recruitment?
It's a good call.
I don't want to go for too much longer, but yeah, look, it's not really the right thing you want your captain to say in public, is it? But that's for another show. I'll be on the Spurs 5 tonight, so I'm sure we'll be talking about it then. I'm replacing Sean tonight. So big up to you, Adam. Thank you very much, my man. Big up to Gerald, always very generous. Said, I agree with you, Savva. The worst I've seen, and I've been watching Spurs since the 60s. Chivers, a legend. Rest in peace. Absolutely. Rest in peace to Chivers and also to Yorif today as well. Two Spurs, two ex-Spurs players in 24 hours. Gerald, absolutely. It's one of the worst squads I've ever seen. I genuinely don't know what people are saying when they say this is a good squad. I don't get it. Big up to Magic J44 Spurs, who's a new member. Big up to you. Thank you very much. We've got a members-only show on Friday, so big up to you. Is it Friday? Tomorrow. It's tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Big up to you. Big up to Ant London. I'm guessing that's for London. Says, hello, chaps. Until Enoch go, nothing changes. Absolutely. We need owners and a manager with gravitas to invest and hire the best over 3 years. Problem you're going to have is, even with new owners, what top manager with gravitas wants to join when there's such a big project that needs to take place? Big managers normally want to go somewhere and win immediately. And that's the problem we had.
Man City didn't happen overnight, folks. They bought that club, and they went through a few years of pain before they landed on Pep. And even in his first year, Pep didn't turn them around. So it's not instant.
No, absolutely. Just quickly, last 4 or 5. Big up to Kieran, who says, spot on, Savva. The ownership is just chasing profit over football integrity. Sick of being the laughing stock of English football. These modern fans don't help with the reactionary and popular views. Kieran, I just think there's a lot of younger fans who don't really seem to understand anything about our history. The way they talk, look, anybody that's thinking this squad is a quality group of players clearly hasn't been alive to see what a proper squad of quality footballers looks like. Big up to you, Kim. Really appreciate that. Big up to Connor Ryan, who's become a member. Big up to you, my man. Hopefully see you on the members only show. Thank you very much. Big up to Henry Wrong TV. Said no manager is going to succeed with these players. Apparently not. Apparently there's going to be managers who come in, get us top 4 and winning trophies with these players. Let's see. Big up to you. Big up to Andy Lester. How you doing, Andy? Said big up Savva, Rain and Mark. Our fan base is part of the problem. Can't stomach a bad patch. Most of the players aren't good enough. Let's try to grow. Completely agree. But hey, we are where we are, Andy, and fans think it's Football Manager. So it is what it is. Big up to you, Andy. Big up to Destiny, who's been a member for 12 months. Happy 1 year anniversary to you. Says, thanks, Savva. As always, good show. Big up to you, Destiny. Appreciate that. Big up to Cyril McCoys, who says, we are very generous super chat. We argue over who should start because none of them are good enough. That's my point. That's my point. Under Prime Poch, no one argued Toby, Jan, Dembele, Ali, Eriksson, etc. because they were that good. Cyril, this is my point. No one was arguing who should play centre mid or left wing or up front or right back or left back because the top quality players, you went, he starts. Now we've got a mixture of very average footballers that we all argue average versus average. Big up to you, my man. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And always very generous to me is Jordan. I wish I knew who this was. Really generous. Always generous to me. Says Thomas Frank has basically taken over a sinking ship and does look out of his depth. but it's the ownership who have created this. If Keith Andrews was our manager right now with this squad, nothing would be different. And Jordan, that's the thing. There's a difference between Keith Andrews taking over what was a very steady ship with good recruitment, good ethos, good philosophy. Everyone had been put together under Thomas Frank and the coaching staff. He's carried that on and kicked them on. There's a big difference to that and picking up a shit show that has been chopped and changed. Fans like Matt Marios kid will never understand that. They'll never.
But it does go to show, Sav, that for all of the, and he's no longer here. For all of the Mariuses in this world, who I feel embarrassed for him, to be honest. I do. You know, I'm probably old enough to be his granddad. You know, I would love to like sit him down and go, look, mate. But this does show you. You read out a lot of those comments. It does show you that it's not all hope is lost. There are more of us than there are of them. Yeah. If you know what I mean, there are. There are.
Again, like this guy, Frank held Brentford back. I mean, he built the club.
Maybe not.
It's mad, isn't it? Can you imagine? That's like saying, just quickly before we end the show, that's like saying, right, I've gone into this company over here, which is mediocre. I've put them at the top table at what they do. I've sold loads of assets for hundreds of millions of pounds. And then someone say to me, I held that company back. It's honestly, I'm embarrassed that people like that exist. I am. I'm embarrassed. Like people go, didn't win an FA Cup at Brentford. Right. Sorry. Yeah. By the way, Pep was busy winning it, or Klopp, right? Or Chelsea, or like, what are we doing here? He didn't win a trophy at Brentford. Can we let that sink in? That is the equivalent right now, guys. Think of a bottom half championship team. Here you go. That is like the equivalent of saying, I don't know, Cochrane, who's our coach, gets his first manager job and takes over at Oxford United, right? And in 7 years, gets them an established Premier League football team, and people are going, yeah, but he didn't win anything at Oxford. It's just
with a new stadium. I know I need to go, but a new stadium
Yeah, it's actually mad. And yes, every fan base does have idiots. Listen, let me just see if there's anyone I can send everyone over to. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you, Mark, for coming on. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Rain. And I will have a members only show tomorrow.
Good to meet you in person, Rain. Well, virtually. Watched you many times.
Oh, really?
I'm always loitering. I'm an admin, so yeah, I'm always loitering.
Right, guys, I'm sending you all over. You don't have to, but please, when you get there, say FHTV raid or Savva raid. I'm sending you over to Irish Dave for the Irish Hotspur. When you get there, just say hello, smash the like to him, and subscribe. Good lads, Dave and Jack. Much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs, buy some players in the transfer market.
Take it easy, all.